Hello, everybody. You're welcome to today's amazing session and the ongoing Africa Challenge hosted by Africomicade. So I'll be your host and moderator for today. My name is Louis White Jonah. I'm a games advocate in the African game industry. And today we will be having a beautiful session with an amazing person. But before I welcome or bring him on, this is the third day in the ongoing Africa Challenge. We've had amazing sessions. We had beautiful sessions yesterday, and we also had some amazing sessions the day before, which was Monday. So you can just go up and then check out our recent previous sessions to be updated with the ongoings of what we've been doing. So yeah, so today I will be having a special guest, and I want to bring him on board. He's a very special person by the name Mr. Akinwale. So, okay. Hello, Mr. Akinwale.
Hello,
Hello.
Louis. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm awesome. How was the day? How's the day been?
Yeah, my day was fine. I just got back from the office not too long ago. Popped up my laptop and joined. Yeah, but it was fine. It was okay. It was cool. Had a nice time at the office,
Oh, okay.
and I'm
So
happy to be here.
yeah, me too. I'm so excited to hear you share your story of the amazing things you've done, and also to tell us about your experience. So I know there are lots of persons too that are also excited to hear you talk about what you do and what you've done. All right. So
Okay, that's fine.
oh, okay, awesome. So let's begin, right? I've read your bio and it's amazing. I've seen your videos and all that. I've gone through your Instagram page. So can you just tell us and also the people that are watching or will be watching some days from now, tell us who you are and what you do, and yeah, just you can go ahead. Be free.
Okay. My name is Akinwale Arokodare. I am a registered architect based in Nigeria, and I have a passion for creativity, self-expression, basically people expressing themselves, people discovering and nurturing their creativity. I have a passion for that. Um, yes, during for my day-to-day activities, yes, I work in a real estate company as an architect because that's what I studied. Um, I studied at Covenant University. I studied architecture at Covenant University. Upon graduation, I did my master's in the University of Manchester in construction project management. So I've been in the creative field all through my life as an architect, designing buildings, designing furniture, basically design anything design. Yeah, I get my hands on. So my life story basically about 2 years ago during COVID period, I joined social media, uh,
Okay.
and so prior to that I wasn't a social media person. I was just basically home office. So I joined social media COVID. Then I started posting stuff like if I if I create like a coffee table in my house, I design a coffee table, I send it to a manufacturer, they create it, I do the 3D on my computer, I create it, and I started posting on social media. Then I started getting traction from social media, people saying things like you are creative, you are this, you use design thinking. So, and prior to that, I never saw myself as being creative. I just used to think that so it's just normal to sketch something on paper and create it and bring it to life. I just
Right.
thought it was just basic. But when I started getting comments from social media, I started to realize that wow, it seems like there are people out there that are not aware of their creative capabilities. There are people out there, they're probably working in banks and they have talent for singing. They probably have the voice that could move people, but are not really tapping into that. So I thought that that means if I can continue to put myself out there, show what creativity is, I can inspire people to be creative. I can inspire people to look at themselves and tap into their uniqueness. So that's kind of what pushed me to show my creative side on social media more, like on Instagram, on YouTube, TikTok. So I just push content out there to inspire people to be creative, to inspire people to look inwards. Yeah. So that's kind of what even linked me up with um, this platform, the eAfrica Challenge, because I created a game app for my kids. My kids right now they're 5 years old. But when they were about 3 years old, I created a game app on their Apple tabs so that they could play those games and kind of express themselves as kids. Because I wanted them, I did not want them to just jump into technology. Like I wanted to create an app that would kind of ease them into the process of getting used to technology. So it's called Bindigo. So I think that was the advert I put on Instagram, and that was what brought me to this platform. So that's basically my story. And yeah, I'm happy to share more if you're willing to listen. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely willing to listen, and I know people watching are also willing and also eager to hear more from you. So before we move over to the next question and all that, I would love to play the video about the app, and then so that people would see the video and then understand what you were trying to say earlier on. So we can just let's play the video.
Okay.
So long story short, some years ago when my kids were about 2.5 years old, I learned C# programming language and used Unity game engine to create a game app for them called Bindigo. My kids were of the age where they were going to start using iPad, so I wanted to create a game app that would introduce and ease them into the elements of technology. The game has 40 levels. It gets harder as you progress on higher levels. I created a game to help my kids learn about the concept of cause and effect by using their hands on the screen while a red bouncy ball interacts with whatever expressions they make on the screen. And I want to share my free game app with you. So if you have kids that are of the age where you think that they can start to use those little cute baby iPads, check out my free game app. It's called Bindigo. You can download it from the iOS and Google Play stores by searching for the name Bindigo. So long story short, some years ago when my kids were about 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I saw the video and I was like, wow, this is so awesome. So yeah, so I'm very curious right now. So how difficult was it for you, coming from an architectural background, to learn C# and then to learn Unity game engine so that you could build games for your children to help them? So how difficult was it for you coming from that background?
Okay, I would say it was difficult, and I also say it wasn't difficult. Now, it was difficult in the sense that yes, I had a 9 to 5. I had kids when I come home that would vie for my attention. I had a family, I had other responsibilities. That was the difficult part. But what made it not difficult is that if you really want to create anything, there are tons of materials online for you to learn from. You can, if you want to create anything, there are tons of materials online for you to create from. So it's basically easy. Now, what did I use? I used Unity game engine. Unity is a free 3D game engine that you could use to code. It uses C# programming language. Now, if you want to create maybe like a game such as Bindigo, there are a lot of things that you need to, a lot of processes. The back end, the programming, the graphics, the connections to different pages. If you understand how an app works, there's the home page. Then when you click the menu, there's another page. There are all those layers and layers and layers. So what I did, now this is the easy part, was to go on, yes, we all know YouTube. Go on YouTube, and I broke down the steps. Okay, if for example to create the game took maybe 30 steps, I broke them down into little tiny bits, and I watched tutorials based on each tiny bit. Now if you look at the game, now the game uses, when you put your hand on the screen, it creates a mark. So it's like you are drawing on the screen. So I looked for a tutorial on creating drawing lines using Unity. I did not look for a tutorial to say how to create a game. That would be so overwhelming. So I looked for tutorial how can I make my input on a screen that when I touch the screen, it creates lines. Then do you know what I found out is that a lot of people have used that system to create other kind of games. So people post the code already of that particular thing. I think it's called, I think GitHub. Yeah, GitHub is a place where people post codes. Now that AI has come out, the amount of codes people put there now, it's now enormous. So I got the code for that's the main concept of the game. The fact that when my kids, when they put their hand on the screen, the screen records that input signal and their line. So it's called line renderer. So I looked for a tutorial on that. I learned it. Before I knew it, I saw a code for it. Someone had already put the code on how to do it. So I just copied the code, pasted it on my console. The console is the place where you put in your language for that particular item, and I got that. So I now started tweaking things to make it suit my game. So for example, when you put on the game, when you input a signal and it records it, I wanted that it should disappear after 5 seconds. So and I looked for a tutorial on that particular thing. Okay, when there's an input signal from an external source, maybe a mouse, if it's a game on the computer, if it's a mouse you're using, or if it's a phone, when there's an input signal, I want that input signal to disappear after a particular time. Search. Next thing, you just see someone has typed a code on that particular thing. So see, before you know it, those 30 steps I said about creating a game, you would find that people have gone through all those steps and put that information online. And all you just need to do is settle down, find time, settle down, and combine all those things into what you need. When it comes to the things like graphics, yes, I know how to use Photoshop. So I was able to find my way around that. Although I think I could have done better, but when it comes to like graphics, when it comes to things like sound, there's a lot of sound files online. So when people click a button, the sound that it makes, you can get that online. When people click, when the ball hits the borders of the screen, I wanted it to have a particular sound that was kind of annoying, or when it's game over, that different sounds. See, basically everything is online. It just requires you for you to settle down, know where your goal is, break it down into smaller steps, then tackle each step one by one, then combine it together. You can create a wonderful product with that system. I call it precision learning. I'm going to do a YouTube video on it so that people can learn how to apply that skill. I call it precision learning. It's a skill that's generalist. So if you read about a generalist and a specialist is someone who kind of specializes in one thing. So if you go to a bank and you meet a cashier is just specializes on that particular thing, what he or she does. Now generalists, they are people who they kind of have the experience and knowledge across various fields. You see someone who can play a piano, at the same time he can also write code, at the same time he can do track and field, can swim. So if you read about a generalist and specialist, so there's a school of thought that human beings are supposed to be generalists. They're supposed to be good in a lot of things. It's just that society and the media kind of says that, okay, you're supposed to just do one thing. You're supposed to just grow up and just do one thing, but you can do many things. And with the age of the digital renaissance and the amount of information online, if you can settle down and just direct your mind, direct your focus, you can create many things. You can learn anything, and you can achieve whatever you set out to achieve. That's it. So precision learning is a skill used by generalists. So they use it in. So when you see online, you see someone like Elon Musk, you think, oh no, this guy is just too good. Oh, he's a genius. See, he's using skills. He's using skills to apply, and he applies those skills in a precise manner in order to create products that would make impact in society. So people like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, so those are skills that they use. So those are kind of things I kind of talk about on my YouTube channel and on Instagram on how people can use those skills to improve their creativity. So if you want to create an app, I'm sure a lot of people want to create apps for kids for their personal use. You can apply that skill. It's called precision learning. You break down your major goals into very little goals, and you learn precisely on each particular step, and you combine it to achieve that big goal that you want to accomplish. So that's it.
Okay. That's super awesome. Now, so this session is about building games for education, and particular building character and resilience. Yeah. So now, using the game you built, the Bindigo, which you built for kids to teach them how to go into the tech world and all that. So now, I have a question, which is, can you actually elaborate um, ways which people can build resilience and character in children, especially at a young age? Now, using your game Bindigo as a case study.
Okay, so how can you build resilience and character? That's a very great question because that's kind of what Bindigo was based on. If you
Yeah.
listen to the video, I said I wanted them to understand the concept of cause and effect. Now, let me explain what cause and effect is. As a child, one characteristic that children have is their curiosity. You know, when you were born, when you were a child, you see people walking, you want to get up and try and walk. You see that you have fingers, you want to test, you want to touch, you want to grab something, you want to hold something, you want to feel your face. It's curiosity. So if you are able to build an app, if you want to build an app for children, a good way to develop that curiosity is try to create a platform or a console or a system that allows them to express themselves, show that their curiosity. So if you notice in Bindigo, the idea of Bindigo is that a ball is bouncing and you try and put that ball into a hole. That's it. But if I give you that app, the way you will get that ball into that hole will be different from the way I will get that ball into the hole. So you see, it shows you difference, that I am different from you. It shows kids that, see, when you put your hand and you touch the screen and you make a line, that's what cause is. Now when the ball hits that line, it bounces to another direction. That's what effect is. So when kids start at an early age, start to realize that whatever actions they make, whether it's raising their hand up or deciding to stand up on their feet, there is an effect. So that's how you build resilience. Them knowing that, see, oh, I can do this. When I put my hand here, the ball moves. When I do like this, when I press this button on this iPad, this red button on this iPad, it makes a sound. Resilience means they can rely on their capabilities. That's the meaning of resilience. That when they know that they can rely on their capabilities, it also breeds self-confidence. It also breeds self-awareness, and that also leads to character. So when there's an app developed for a child, like I said, if I play Bindigo, the way I play it will be different from the way you play it. That's where character comes into play. So if I in the Bindigo game, when a child plays level 1 to say level 10, they start to develop a method of playing. So you can see character starts to develop when self-resilience is constant. That, okay, I can rely on myself, that when I press this button, this happens. I can rely on myself when I swipe left, this happens. Remember cause and effect. So you begin, as a child, you begin to understand yourself. You begin to explore your curiosity. So those are the kind of things that you need to impute in applications when it comes to children. And let me tell you something deep. All applications that do well, all applications, I'm talking about, maybe say applications of Netflix on your TV, um, your phone design, the way the screen, the way the apps are designed, it's designed in a way so that children can use them. That's what makes good program, a good app, a good platform. If you notice, if you have kids or you have friends that have kids, by 3 years old, they can use phone. The way they will use the phone, they just know how to navigate, they just know how to move around. So that's what makes a good app, a good program. If kids can navigate it, if kids can know how to move left, move right, and build their curiosity on. Yeah. So that's how you develop resilience and character. You lead them on, you lead their curiosity on, you build on that resilience, and as they keep on going it, they develop the character. Like my son played bindigo more than my daughter. And my son is the kind of okay, he's the kind of person that there was a bug. You know what it means when there's a bug on an app. Maybe while using the app there was an error.
Okay.
Once there was an error on level 35, my son deleted the app within. Yeah, so your daddy made the app for you. He just deleted it. So already that's his character. He doesn't waste time with having one app that is not bending to his will. At 5 years old, he just deleted it. So that's it. That's
That's
how you develop.
that's now talking about these children and using digital devices and all that. So are you not scared that children, because you said you built your game, the game for your kids who were 2 years and above, right? About around 2 years old and all that. So don't you think this is actually one of the issues we are facing in the game space, and also when you're building games for education, because people tend to see devices, children using devices as a distraction. So are you not scared that games is actually a distraction for kids that are around that age group?
So I see it as you need to instill balance. Mm? I don't. So if you come to my house, I don't say, um, "Oh, don't use your iPads. Don't play games." They play games. They use their iPads, but
Okay.
there is also time for dropping that iPad and doing practical work. Because see, I won't be with my kids 247. I won't be with them. Okay, when they are in school, and in school they give them devices and stuff. You understand? I wouldn't be there, but I instill responsibility. So that's where that self-reliance comes in. You build that responsibility. Okay, um, Alex, your iPad from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. After 2 o'clock, you go and journal. Take your book and write. Once you start building that, once you start making them know that, see, they are in control of that, they are responsible for how they apply that, how they use that device. Before you know it, what happens is that they'll just drop the iPad after some night. They're bored. They only pick it up when, okay, let me just pick it up when I want to use it. So the families that you see that the kids are all on that iPad, when you go into their personal life, you realize that the family hasn't built that self-responsibility in the child. That the family hasn't invested quality time with the child. So see, me, I'm an advocate of technology. And with the way technology is going, if you look at the way technology is going, AI just kind of, ChatGPT came out last year November, but for the past 8 months, you see that a lot of AI companies have come out, a lot of AI apps have come out. The amount of information on the internet space, on the digital space, is going to be times 10 in the next 1 year. The amount of games for kids, the amount of games on apps would increase by 10 times in the next 1 year, because AI will make creating games very easy. Anybody with that is determined now can create a game. So if you want to say technology is distracting, it's about to get more distracting. If you believe that, it's about to get more distracting. So right now is the time for parents to have quality time. That's that bonding. You should, like, for me, I take them outside. We spend time outside. We also use our iPads and phones. So there's a balance. So that balance helps them understand that, okay, I have that responsibility to use my phone at a particular time and play outside at a particular time, use my phone at a particular time, draw or sketch or journal at a particular time. So it's balance. That balance is very important. Once you lack in one side, you find out that your kids just try and dwell on the phone screen. They just dwell on the phone screen because they use it as a coping mechanism to kind of cope for the deficiencies of that family system or that relationship. So it's balance. It's balance.
Okay. So you said several things about kids using their phone and how you were able to teach your kids, give them timing on how when to touch, when to use their mobile devices, and when not to use their mobile devices. Now, in the world currently, okay, let's use Africa as a case study, right? In Africa, people that are gamers are, as it's assumed that people that are playing games are not really what's the word to use? They are not really seen as a gaming is not seen as a serious profession. Yeah, that is one. So we have this particular ideology about game space, and now we have this particular ideology about devices. And then even in some schools, especially in Africa, they don't allow mobile phones and all that. Now, this is it. Is it? What's your take on this? Do you think games are bad for the mind, especially when it has to do with kids? Because there is a tendency of you giving a child a phone to play a mobile game, let's say an educative game like Bindigo, and there's a tendency of the child going elsewhere from like out of the game to do something else. So do you think games are actually bad for the mind? Talking in terms of education games and also in kids.
Um, so there's something I believe in. There's a concept I believe in. It's called duality. Duality, duality, and that concept states that everything has good and evil. So, for example, you meet a girl that you're interested in and you want to get married to. Some people just try and look at that girl and say, "Oh, she's perfect," and they go with that mentality that, "Oh, this person is perfect." There's a problem there. It shows that that person doesn't really understand the concept of duality, because nothing is perfect. It kind of has like a two-edged sword. So you should, in that kind of situation, the person should see that girl as, "Oh, yes, she's perfect, but she has her bad sides. But I love her in spite of the good and bad sides that she has." So that's someone who understands human relationship. So everything has its good and bad sides. Even this internet that we say, okay, has helped humanity progress. The internet is a source of a lot of mental illnesses, scamming, terrorist activities. But at the same time, it's one of the major ways we communicate with each other. We share information. So there is a good and a bad side. So that's what it comes with games. See, games are a way for children to learn self-expression. Games are a way for children to learn about the world. You know, like on 2 days ago, my son brought his iPad and said I should download a particular game for him. And I looked at the game. It was a game about airport security. That was the name, whereby you are a security at the airport and you are checking people as they're moving in. You are searching their bags. If anybody has like any hazardous material, you flag it. So that kind of game puts my son in that particular position. So imagine as a 5-year-old, you're able to explore that universe in your head. You know the amount of exposure it gives you, the amount of new neurons in your brain is able to connect with. So imagine, so when you're traveling with that child, the child sees airport security, he remembers the game, he sees what is happening. That's, you've elevated that child's consciousness with that game application. So games are very, very educative. They help you experience life in another dimension, in another realm, via the lens of other people. So it's good. It's a very good way for educating kids. Like I said, there is the good and the bad side. So the bad side now comes from how that person utilizes that application. Like I said, the internet is the source of a lot of bad things. Games as well. See, I can use myself as an example. I used to play a lot of games. Yeah, but when a lot of things happened in my life, then I weighed my options. I looked at my options. I'm like, oh, if I I looked at how much time I used to spend playing games. I used to play, if you know FIFA, where I used to play FIFA, I used to play FIFA Ultimate Team. If I look at my time, look at the time I'm spending on FIFA Ultimate Team. Meanwhile, I have a lot of responsibilities piling up in my life. So I needed to direct my time and my resources. So I had to stop and X playing games so that I can provide more time for the various responsibilities in my life. So you can see that was a personal responsibility on my part that required some form of maturity, some form of thinking on my part. So that is the part that Africans should focus on: building self-resilience, building self-awareness on the individual. That's the part we as Africans should focus on. Yeah. So that's it basically. That's we should that's it basically actually. And did you get, because you've been going off and on? I don't know if you.
Yeah. I heard everything you said, but my video was like going off and on. Yeah. So yeah, that's so much. So are we expecting to get any game from you? Because is it just Bindigo is it just Bindigo you have, or you've built another game? Or are we expecting to see another game in education?
So you know, like I said, I recently joined social media,
Okay.
and my eyes have opened to a lot of things. So one thing I have learned is how to run a business, how to create a product and introduce it to the market. Now, Bindigo, I created Bindigo while I was just in my house on my bed. I'll just go on my computer and just play with it. Now, there will be other games I will create, but I now realize that now that I am going mainstream and I want to create things for people out there, I wanted to. There are processes. Now, for example, if you read about marketing, if you read about marketing, I've been reading about a lot about marketing recently. So about marketing, one of the first things before you create a product is that you need to build brand image. So if you notice and look at my social media presence, that's what I am doing. I am building brand image. So I'm building brand image. Once I build brand image, then the next thing is to understand the pain points of my audience. By the time I build a brand image and I have dedicated audience, I understand their pain points. When I understand that, I can now create a product that would add value to my audience. Remember, Bindigo was just my kids.
Still within the games for education um, area, or you want to divert. So my
No,
question
no,
was games.
no. It was, yes, still within the game application area. Because see, if you look at the game application area, yeah, if you look at it, there are, see, as we are talking now, someone is
There are lots of
uploading
use
a game on the App Store. If you see the way my kids use their iPad, once a game just doesn't really entice them, delete, 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 delete. So the place is saturated. So you want to understand your audience, you want to understand your customer, you want to understand, okay, this game I create, how will it add value to them? So that's what I am going through. Because Bindigo, I just created Bindigo just out of my two kids. Now, but I want to create for a community. I want to create for an audience. Yes, I want to build that brand image and develop. Oh, actually, yes, I've actually started developing a game. Actually, I have. I
Okay.
have.
So,
It's,
are you having challenges currently developing the game? Because it seems you've not, because there are lots of game development, game dev communities in Nigeria and also outside of Nigeria. So, let's say you have a particular idea you want to build around game application, game for education, game for sustainability, and all that, and maybe you lack one or two resources, or you need to implement some certain things which is not um, in your reach or something you don't have. So you can actually leverage on these game development communities. And then, because from what you said earlier on, you have a 9 to 5, which is your
yeah,
primary role, and then you do this as just, let me say, hobby or so in your
yeah.
spare time. So maybe if you want to push it way further, you can as well leverage on the game dev communities. There are lots of them, and then you can also reach out to Africa Communicate. We have a list of them. We can just share you and give you resources on different game communities, which you can get people to make awesome games, collaborate with them, because collaboration is also key. You can even be shocked that there is somebody also working on a particular thing similar to what you're doing, and then he's also lacking the particular skill set you have, right? So you can also do that. So there are lots of things happening, lots of amazing things happening, and I'm super excited to have you share your experience. And then before we wrap up, yeah, so I want to let's get one or two advice from you, just like in 2 or 3 minutes, just advice or whatever you have from your experience.
Okay, just general advice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um. Okay, general advice would be that um from my experience, from what I have learned from for the past 3 years, like I said, my life kind of took a turnaround around that COVID period. What I realized that a lot of people are not really aware of their strengths. They're not really aware of their uniqueness, and I would like to advise people to go out and try, just experiment, create, express yourself. Um, a good way is to kind of think back to your past, all those things that used to make you happy when you were a child, all those things that you used to do. Those, maybe you were in a talent show or you used to dance when you were a child. Try and think back to when you were a child, all those things that used to make you happy. Try and bring them back into your present situation. Just express yourself. If you want to create something, um, um, apply what I talked about earlier. It's called precision learning. Don't be overwhelmed by the information online. That if you apply precision learning, you can use it to learn almost anything and create stuff. Um, um, I would like everybody to also shift from a lot of people in Africa, especially in Africa, where we have this consumer mindset. So we just consume mindlessly on social media, on Netflix. You just consume. It's all about consumption. You should adopt a creator mindset. It's something I talk about online. And once you adopt a creator mindset, you see yourself as a creator. You see yourself as a value contributor. You want to add value to your neighbor. You want to add value to the person coming behind you. So you want to wake up in the morning and say, okay, what can I create today? So that's a creator mindset. You have the mindset of abundance rather than of scarcity. You have a mindset of contributing positively to the people around you. It's a much more intentional way of living. That's the creator mindset. So that's the advice I have. And also keep in mind that whatever you create, if it's a game app, if it's a website, if it's a product, a physical product, always keep in mind that it's people interact with those things that you create. Like for example, I created Bindigo. Who knows? Someone in Japan has downloaded it. Yeah. So you have that responsibility to put your your surroundings, your brothers, your sisters, your fellow brethren. You have that responsibility to put them in mind when you create stuff, when you express yourself. Yeah. So it's a collective responsibility as creators. So that's my advice.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinwale. And thank you for accepting to share your story on this amazing platform, the challenge. And then, yeah, so lots has been said. I personally would actually follow you on Instagram. I think I'll drop, if you can just tell us your Instagram handle so that we can just follow you up so that we can keep tabs to find out when next you would release your next project or whatever. So we just keep tabs and all that.
Is Akinwale underscore A.
Okay, Akinwale underscore a double underscores.
Yes,
Okay.
double underscore.
Okay. That's super nice. So I personally would be waiting for anticipating your next game release, and then good luck, more grace and all that in your 9 to 5, and also your games. I'll call it your games career because you're now a game developer, right?
Uh,
So you're
I'm,
now.
I'm, a, I'm a creator. I create a lot of things. So some people have called me a furniture designer. Some people have called me a light designer. Some people have called me um, um, a novelist. So I like to create. So
All right. So thank you so much. And we will be wrapping up now because we have another session in a few minutes time, and then we're having another session in a few minutes time, and we would love you all to join if you have the time. And then thank you so much, Mr. Akinwale, and it's a pleasure
thank you very
meeting
much. Thank you very much.
speaking with you. Yeah. So like I said, we will be keeping tabs. Okay. So that's all from me. And Mr. Oscar, are you?
No.
Yeah, you can definitely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.